All right. You ready? Are you ready?
I'm good.
Doom, doom. Think you can tell us what to do?
Break it down.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to another episode of The Wrecking Crew here at MVP. I'm here with my co-host, my battery mate, Tim Shaw. Tim, how we doing today? How we doing?
Rainy day here in Illinois, but hopefully the Cubbies can pull it out tonight in Atlanta. Hotlanta.
I was going to say, good thing we're not in Chicago tonight. We're in Atlanta tonight.
Ran some weather with Pittsburgh, but, you know, got out of that mess.
Also, Tim, I got to say, for those of you who did not catch our live stream on Friday.
Oh, so much fun.
Nobody's looking at the picture anymore. The picture's not here. You are here. You've got a camera.
Mm-hmm. That's true, yes.
First podcast with the new camera. How do you feel being on camera now?
I feel pretty.
let the boyish charm out. The ooh. Now you guys actually get to see Tim talk to me rather than just looking at his good-looking mug and not actually seeing the mouth move. But Tim, we got to
curve my. I got to curve my eye roll. Now you can see me going.
Oh, Ricky, what are you doing? But first things first, before we get into housekeeping, yes, I know, Ricky, where were you guys on Saturday? We had some under the weather feelings.
A little bit. I had a little bit of a headache coming off of work. Mm-hmm. Still reeling from my back being injured, so I do appreciate your flexibility there, Richard. And I hope it didn't put anybody out.
But Tim, the main question is, if I gave you aspirin, but I told you one of those 5 aspirin would kill you, would you take the aspirin for your headache?
All 5?
No, just one of them. It's a 1 in 5 chance that the one would kill you. Do you still take?
Tell me.
Do you still take the aspirin?
Deep the rabbit hole goes?
No, one does not. I'm basically referencing the Michael Jordan quote where he goes, "Would you still take it?" And he goes, "I don't know. How bad's the headache?" Basically being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna play this game because my ankle doesn't matter." That was when he had the ankle injury, and he's like, "I'm playing," and they're like, "No, you're not," and he's like, "Yeah, I am." But welcome into another Wrecking Crew. We got a lot of stuff to talk about with the Cubs today. Coming off the Pittsburgh series, heading into the Braves, which is going on right now as we're talking. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. Discord's down below if you want to get into the MLB chat with the rest of the MVP crew, the MVP fandom. It's a great community that we can all get together and talk to each other, especially when we're not in the comment section or we're not doing podcasts like we are now. If you want to support us, the Patreon channel is down below. Patrons are watching this live. Hello, patrons. You can watch it live too for as low as $5. And that's all the MVP podcasts, not just this one. So it's a real bang for your buck. We got BETUS. You'll hear about them later and their sign-up bonus, sponsors of the podcast. Leave a like. That helps with the algorithm. Sub. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and obviously leave your comments down below. Socials are also in the descriptions as well. You can follow both Tim and I on X, along with all the MVP socials. But Tim, we're starting today with a little bit of this extended from the live stream, and now it's on to the podcast where I think we have to have a discussion about Javier Assad. It pains me to say this because he's gotten the nickname Assad from us, but here's the thing I'm thinking of, and I'm going to set the question up. It ain't going to be like a rapid, here's the question. So early on in the season, we've had injuries galore. Every team's dealing with injuries, but it seems like the Cubs have been nicked here and there with injury. Then someone comes back. Oh, here's a new guy that gets injured. Oh, Saya's back. Ooh, Swanee's down on the DL. Oh, Steele comes back. Oh, Wicks is now going to the DL. It's kind of like a revolving door. Someone comes in, someone goes out.
Those bench players must really be like, hell yeah, I got a chance here.
They're playing.
Playing well.
With the lineup that it is right now, Steele and Shota are obviously at the top. Whoever you want the ace to be, like, it's interesting. I think Steele is the ace, but Shota by performance will become the ace?
I think naming some of the aces is a little arbitrary, unless it's
we have two
going
aces.
up against unless you have a have to win series.
Yeah,
a la the playoffs when you go, I'm putting my best guy against the best guy.
Who do you? Side question: who do you say that is right now? Cubs are in a game 7. Is it Shota?
Shota.
Yeah, but basically we have two ace-like caliber players in Steele and Shota. Taillon is back. He's now back in the rotation. And then it ends out with Hendricks and Assad. And Wicks is on the DL, 15-day. He'll be coming back. Ben Brown, who's listed as a starting pitcher, but he's in the bullpen, called up early. He eventually could get worked in to a starting rotation. So the question I'm going to ask you, Tim, is Javier's Assad, is his days as a starter in this rotation numbered? Meaning, not tomorrow, not the next start he's going to be replaced, but eventually this season, either Wicks coming back, either a Ben Brown taking over for Assad, is one of those two things going to happen to where Assad is going to be kicked to the bullpen and no longer a part of the starting rotation?
I mean, short answer, possibly. Long answer, I want to let everybody know that we're not proposing this question based on his
any
performance. News performance either. To a certain respect, because Assad, quite frankly, is one of our best pitchers. He's very close to the best. If Shota wasn't pitching as well as he was.
Yeah.
If anybody was tuned into the stream on Friday, I complained a lot about this. I probably didn't.
You drug.
I went on a little bit too long.
Drug him over the glass.
It's his efficiency on the mound. When that game started, before that first pitch, I think I called it. I go, this guy is going to be 40, 45 pitches in by the second inning.
You did.
And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. And did he... I think he had 6 strikeouts that game still. I don't think he walked a lot. He might have, but he gets out of it too. The numbers he has are...
4 Ks.
4 Ks?
4 Ks?
Okay.
Yep. 4 Ks, 2 walks.
We saw him in 4K too. If he can still be that efficient, I see where he still has a spot in the rotation. I'd love to see him dial that pitch count down. That really bothers me, and that to me, if I'm Craig and it's going like this, and I can't get 6 solid innings out of him consistently, not consistently, but when the opportunities are there and he can go that way, and they have the lead, and he's pitching well, but he's at 90 pitches in the 4th inning, I would consider moving him to a substantial role in the bullpen.
Yeah,
nobody could argue that we don't need an anchor down there. And I've thrown other guys out there into that ring. I've said Hendricks countless number of times. I get laughed at by everybody. I tell it, not just you, Rick.
Yeah,
everybody I say that to. Everybody laughs at me. I know, but. Maybe when Wicks comes back, or Ben Brown, who has been proven to be able to go to the 7th or 8th inning, maybe he becomes a long reliever. Maybe he does do a split game with him and Wicks or something, or wherever they do have guys that they're testing out, because they do have young pitchers that are going to come up that maybe they don't want to throw them to the wolves and have them throw 100 pitches. Then you're bringing Assad to eat up 3-4 innings. That's a very valuable part of a pitching rotation. And it's very unsung, but he could definitely do a lot of good there.
Here's the thing, that my answer is not as nice as yours.
Okay.
At some point this season, I think it's not going to be this month. It won't be next month. I will say by the earliest, some point in July, between All-Star break and trade deadline, definitely after the trade deadline, he will be in the bullpen. And the reason I say that is 2 things. Is one, you were right when you look at his stats, and if you were just stat watching, which you can do in baseball to a degree, you can just stat watch and oh, that's a good guy. I'm going to he's had 2 starts in May. I'm just going to take his April little snippet. Okay. He's thrown I'll ask you this: in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in 6 starts in April, how many total pitches do you think he threw?
Oh, geez. 5 starts, you said? 6 starts?
6 starts.
I would say he averaged around 87 to 91, somewhere in there. I don't know. What is that?
Go ahead. So you're saying 87 is his average? If he averaged 87, that would be 522.
Yes.
You're not far off. 530. He averaged 88 pitches per outing.
Hey,
which
killed it.
Tim, that's why when you said 87, I'm like, man, that's good. You nearly pinpointed that. Like, if you could get within one either way, that's really good. But yeah, 530. So he was averaging 88. Now, the thing that really skyrocketed his pitch number was the outing against San Diego, where he went 104 pitches. The only time he went over 88 was in that. Let me see if that's right. Yeah, only time he went over 89. 89 was against Colorado. But so far in May, 94, 89. So he's already going up above that. And I feel like that's going to become a problem. 2 reasons. One, the big thing that everyone is worried about, no matter what team you are, how much tax you're putting on that arm. He's a 26-year-old kid. We've seen it with like the Cubs. I don't really know yet how like strict they are to that. We've seen teams like the Yankees. I know this because our buddy Jake was complaining about it, where Aaron Boone in the 9th inning, their closer or their star like reliever needed to go an extra inning to get the save or to get the save. And Boone's like, nah, he's on pace for 80 pitches this year or whatever number they have. We're going to pull him because I don't want that strain. And Jake's like, it's April. Pitch him. Like, we need to like win games. That's all that should matter. I don't know how the Cubs are with that, but I just know more teams are. So that could be an issue. Plus, if Ben Brown starts pitching better or as good as he is, if Kyle Hendricks turns it around and just becomes if he's the Kyle Hendricks that we saw this pit, now grain of salt, the Pirates are the Pirates, and Pirates can be good, can be bad. They've got some flashes, but they're not a great team. But if he can become at least serviceable in that, like, and be serviceably efficient, and not what Assad is, where it's like, 30 pitches in the first inning, setting you up for wrong. I feel like there's a chance with Wicks coming back eventually, he's on the 15-day DL, that the Cubs are going to look at it and go, hey, Assad, you're a good pitcher. We need you more in the bullpen as we get closer to the playoffs than we do as a starter. Because and this is where you were right, Tim, we need a guy in the bullpen that we can call out and say, you're our guy. And Assad starts games out well. If I'm letting him go 2 or 3 innings and he pitches 50 to 70 pitches, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that way more than I am a starter going only 4 or 5 innings pitching 80.
Yeah, and I like the idea of him seeing these guys on their 3rd, 4th rotation around too. You know, like I can see him. I can see him doing way better than that too, because guys are more prone to watch pitches and take more at the beginning at the beginning of the game. He's probably going to be able to blast through innings. If he's throwing 50 pitches out of the pen, he's probably been finishing games. He's probably coming in the 6th or 7th and going through the rest of the game. As a
total, Tim, he's only given up 9 runs so far in 8 starts.
Yeah, he's pitching great. It's just, it's just he's pitching at a snail's pace.
Yeah,
and I don't know if he's not trying to stretch it out. I don't think it's a confidence issue. I think we talked about that on Friday. We thought it was maybe he is a little scared to throw over the plate, but I don't think that's the thing, because he's got some, you know.
Yeah, I do think there's a little bit of, I don't know if it's confidence or if it's just, I'm gonna try to, like, once he gets to 2, if he gets 0-2, if I'm the batter, I do this, Tim. My bat goes like this to this. Just
more often it's going 3-2.
Just sit it on my shoulder, because the next 2 pitches are going right in the dirt.
Yep.
like, I don't know if it's a confidence of like, hey, 0-2, I'm not going to give you something that I think you can groove, or I'm not going to attack you, or if it's just a, hey, I got him 0-2, let me see if I can get him to chase.
I think it's a lot of that. I think it's trying to be cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to
let me play with my food.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, I think that's spot on. We'll see. I mean, like if it'd be hard to put him to the bullpen and not make it look like a demotion. And he doesn't deserve a demotion.
I don't know if I get what you're saying, but I think Craig Counsell is a manager that can phrase it and still give him confidence of like, hey,
hopefully
we need you here. This isn't a demotion. This is a reallocating of our resources. Because really, that's what it would be.
Yeah, and he'd have to listen to that. That'd be a hard sell because he's got, I think he's got the second lowest ERA of the starting rotation behind Shota, and I think he's at a 1.7 or something. Like he's pitching great, but it's not long enough. He doesn't pitch great for long enough. And if the only way you can pitch great is by being cute and keeping it off the plate and keep the batter guessing, which he's doing, it's a good setup man, a good middle reliever, like.
Hi, everybody. Just want to take a quick moment out of today's podcast to tell you about our sponsor for today, BETUS, a sports book that has it all, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, soccer, whatever you like to bet on, BETUS has you covered. And they are offering our viewers and listeners today a 125% sign-up bonus just for using our link down below in the description. So go ahead, use that link down below and get your 125% sign-up bonus, BETUS. And now, let's get back to the podcast.
You could pair him with Mark Leiter Jr., and now you've got two guys you can actually trust coming out of the pen.
Yeah, and I mean, so we'll focus on this more later because we're going to do our front office thing that we usually do on the podcast. But another kind of wrench that gets thrown into this, and why I said in my prediction that definitely by the trade deadline, he will be moved to the bullpen. And I'll just ask you whether or not your confidence has changed in this, because we talked about it, 2 weeks ago, is the Cubs making a deal by the deadline for bullpen help. And does that involve a Kyle Hendricks? Does that involve somebody else on this team? Like, has your mind changed with the kind of like where the Cubs, because a trade will happen this year for the Cubs. Like usually teams that are gearing up that aren't like the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers don't need to make any trades. They're the best roster in baseball. Oh, Philly too. Philly doesn't need to make any trades. The Cubs might need to make a trade or two, get a positional player, get some bullpen help to solidify themselves for a playoff run.
No. Short answer, no. My mind has not changed. I think even if you put Assad in the bullpen, I would still advocate for bullpen support. It's the weakest part of our team. It has been, and it's gonna be. There's nothing you can do about that. That you don't have really many guys in a closer or relief pitcher role in the minors that can come out and be like, oh, well, just wait till this guy gets up here. That you've got some pitchers, you've got some good pitchers, but they're all in the I want to throw 6 innings type of variety.
Yeah.
And I know that goes back into my lovely saying of put them all in the bullpen, but you're not gonna please everybody by doing that.
I'll ask you this, and this is
and yes, it's probably going to have to involve Hendricks, and that's where like he needs to turn it on and become the guy that's semi worth the contract that we're gonna have to, that we're paying him, that another team's gonna have to gobble up.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hard to sell, and it's unfortunate. It's probably gonna have to go with a number of our young prospects.
I'll ask you this.
If you want to go for Johan Duran, you're giving up.
It's not going to be like my MLB The Show where I gave up Hendricks, Alzolay, and a nameless first baseman.
And a guy.
Yeah.
Just player to be named later.
He's got a potential.
I don't think so. Yeah.
One question I will ask you, and this is kind of putting on your Nostradamus hat a little bit. Two guys that we've mentioned. You mentioned one of them just now. Ben Brown's the other one. Do you have confidence that either, like you said, either that Hendricks is going to become at least half of the guy he was to stay a viable bullpen option and not trade bait, I'll say, or that Ben Brown pitches well enough to where the Cubs go, you know what? We're going to give you a start. We're going to give you the go in this rotation. Or does Ben Brown just continue just to be, hey, you're a bullpen guy for the whole year? That's the plan.
Time will have to tell. He's going to have to keep pitching really good, and Hendricks is going to have to keep pitching really bad.
Mm-hmm.
If the timeline you're suggesting is more like by the end of May, no, I don't think Ben Brown replaces Kyle Hendricks unless he completely implodes.
Well, I'm saying like either of these two guys being the guy to stay in the rotation and Assad moving to the bullpen.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, weren't you on the train of Wicks being up there?
Well, so the starting lineup would be Steele, Shota, Taillon, Wicks, and then that fifth person would either be Hendricks, Brown, or Assad.
Brown.
That's what I'm saying. Like that fifth spot. If you had to predict who it is, August, September playoffs, who's the fifth guy? Is it Brown? Is it Hendricks? Is it Assad? It's tough. It's very tough. This is a good problem to have, by the way, because Assad and Brown have been pitching well. Not really with Hendricks. I would love the best case scenario would be just say, oh, it's Hendricks. Why is this a question? That's what it should be.
Yeah. Ideally, yes. I mean, you know what? I was just thinking, like, I don't really need even a 1.7 ERA out of Hendricks, but if he could do what Assad is doing and solidly make it through 5 innings, that's doing your job at that point. Because he's an older player, he's at the end of his career, definitely winding down. Nobody would disagree with that. And that's what makes it frustrating to see Assad doing what he's doing, because it's like, you're 26, like you just said, you're young. We don't need to, start being a little more aggressive here. And if you don't want to be, you want to pick your spots, that's a better bullpen arm. Or a spot start, or a guy that comes in the 3rd or 4th inning,
So I'm doing a little.
I also wouldn't put it past Craig Counsell to do a 6-man rotation.
Okay.
Keep the guys like Shota on a 5-day schedule, but it's not going to be set in stone. You're not going to know who's pitching 2 weeks from now because it's going to keep changing.
Or is it and here's the thing: is it Assad and Brown, and it's Hendricks? That's the thing. Like, eventually the Cubs are going to have to think about what's going on, because Tim, one of the big pieces of news, we'll move right over into it, that happened before Friday's game when you and I were going live for the stream, is that the Cubs have called up star prospect. Some are saying now that Skeens, who made his debut for the Pirates against us, is now in the majors, that this kid may be the best overall prospect in AAA now among all pitchers, and that's reliever Cade Horton. At what point does he get to the show? Because he's going to be in the show this year, right? He's going to make it to the MLB this season, right?
At the very latest, September.
Like just right? the minor league season ends, the September call-ups come around. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind if they just said, all right, the rest of your minor league season's over. Just come up and see what you can do up on the show.
Yeah.
Hopefully before that, that'd be great. But again, he's probably going to go right to the bullpen.
Yeah. So far,
and I wouldn't mind if they had been. You know what? I'm going to go back. I think, despite what I've been saying, I'd rather have Ben Brown in the bullpen than Assad or Hendricks.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably going to be Assad. Probably going to be Assad staying there. And you know what? And also at the same time, give him his kudos. He definitely earned it. So it'd be kind of a robbery to take him out of there. Probably to him personally.
So
I wouldn't like it if I was him. I'd be like, what the hell?
Here's the interesting thing, though, and maybe you look at this of like. Maybe you look at it like, well, Ricky, it's the minors. They're only doing this to get him the most like batters faced. But the interesting thing that I'm looking at with the stats of Cade Horton, so he pitched in 4 games for the Tennessee Smokies, our AA affiliate. And Tim, the most interesting thing is he started all 4 of those games. 16 and a third inning, 13 hits, 3 runs, had only 2 walks, had an ERA of a 1.1. That's why he got called up. However, since getting called up, he has pitched in 2 games for Iowa, AAA affiliate. 2 games, 2 starts. But that's interesting that they're starting him. But like I said, that might just be hey, we want you to see the most batters in the minors, even if you're going to be a reliever at the next level.
I would think it'd be a mistake to not start him. And even when he comes up to the Cubs, his first game should be a start.
Here's the
just hit it off with a bang. See what your career starts as, you know?
This is where we pump the brakes a little bit, Tim.
Okay.
We pump the brakes on because everyone's going to be like what I just said. Oh, when's he at the show? We're going to pump the brakes a little bit. And the reason why is 2 starts, 2 games. He has an ERA of a 10.29, has only pitched 7 innings between those 2 games, has given up 7 hits, 8 runs, 2 home runs, and he's walked 8 batters in 2 games.
2 games.
Nothing to panic about. That's not what I'm saying. But it's like with the Cade Horton, let's pump the brakes. Kid's going to need a little bit of time in AAA because it seems right now, he might be in that spot where AA is way too easy, but AAA is a challenge. It won't. Hopefully, it's not always going to be a challenge. It gets better as the year goes on.
He just went from veteran difficulty to all-star.
Which is a big jump. I don't care who you are.
Big jump.
It's a big jump.
Big jump.
You know what's even a bigger jump, Tim? Going to Hall of Fame or legend.
Yeah, sure.
I tell you not. This is a little bit of an Assad here. You like what I did there? I think it's Hall of Fame because I don't know if I've picked or if I've batted on legend at all, but maybe I did. Dude, Hall of Fame to me, it feels like to me that's what it feels like being an actual major league player with how fast those fastballs come in. I'm like, oh great, I'm an MLB. I have to be an MLB level hitter to hit the ball.
That's when you got to put the VR helmet on and get the baseball bat, step in the plate.
Get the VR home run game. I'm just cracking homers.
King of JUCO.
But Tim, I will say, how concerned should we be that it's gone this poorly this early for him? At all? Anything that's like, should we be concerned at all? Yeah, for Cade.
For Horton, here's a who?
Yep, for Horton, here's who.
I'm not bothered by it at all.
Okay.
I'm not bothered by it at all. In fact, I hope he takes a Kobe-like approach to it where he can airball 4 or 5 or 6 in a row and not let it affect his mentality.
Yeah.
No, I'm not worried about it at all.
Shooter's going to shoot, right?
Shooter's going to shoot.
Shooter's going to shoot.
He's not the number 1 prospect for no reason, you know?
Is there a chance he doesn't get called up this year at all? Well, besides the September call-up. That's not like...
There's a chance he doesn't get called up in September.
Okay. Not even as like you're on the roster and we might use you to give some guys some breaks later on in the season. You know what I mean? Like those minor league guys. We call them up. We're going to give guys rests before the playoffs, like give some arms some breaks here and there.
Well, you would know this better than anybody since you are in the front office.
Yeah, I am.
Right. They're very cautious about when they bring somebody up for the first time.
Yes.
And it has to do with how they pay them. It has to do with whether they can move them up and down freely or not. There's a certain number of options
because there's the MLB service thing too of how much, like how many year, like how much games have you accrued to get your MLB service to where like you're considered now an MLB pro and not just a minor leaguer.
Right. Wait, I mean, is he? Yes, he's on the 40-man roster.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So he's not eligible for like any Rule 1 draft or anything like that, or Rule 5 draft. I mean, no, I can see a scenario where he doesn't come up. I don't know. I'm. It's so far down the line, and it has to matter how well we're doing at that time. But yeah, I can see scenarios for both.
Right now, he is not on the 40-day roster.
Interesting. But he is in AAA.
That should probably change by the end of the year. Right? No?
Should change, but yes. Yes, you need him on the roster by November, I'd say, just to protect him.
Because, like, I'll be honest, there's also, like,
which he will be.
We're talking about Horton, and this kind of plays in. Like, there are other guys on the 40-day roster that will kind of, like, play into things, like Luke Little, Michael Arias. You've got guys like Lovelady, Keegan Thompson. These are guys that are on the major league roster. Jose Quas. Like, we've got a plethora of guys that's like, I don't think we need Horton this year. Would it be great if he takes the next steps through the next month, and by July and August and September, we've got him for that pen? Absolutely.
I think it'd be more fun than anything.
Yeah, but I don't think we need to strap a rocket to this kid in a WWE tournament. We don't need to shoot him to the moon. Little Cameron Grimes for you. Am I wrong? We don't need to shoot him to the moon.
No, we don't need to shoot him to the moon.
Tim, I'll ask you this. Let's go to our front office corner that we usually do each and every week.
Yes, of course.
I got some surprises for you in this one because you and I, you know what's coming. The first one is Dansby Swanson, IL.
I saw that heartbreaking news. What was it, Thursday or Friday maybe?
Yeah, it was right before, because we were going to do the live stream. We were like, oh, did you see who's on the IL? And I'm like, no, I didn't. You're like, Dansby Swanson. I went, really? Really? Oh, yeah, okay, now Dansby's on. It's like, someone comes up, oh, Saya, you're back up. Oh, who's going? Who's going out the revolving door? Who needs to go? Do you think the Cubs are going to weather the storm? I mean, we have been. Do we even have to question it at this point?
I don't think they slow down, really. They're not necessarily a barn burning hot team right now, and they're not, but they are winning most of their series. And now Swanson is on the 15-day. Am I right?
I believe so. Let me double check for you. Go ahead. I'm gonna need time to check this.
So which I think he went on the DL.
He's got a right knee sprain
last Thursday.
10-day DL.
10-day. Okay. So the next 2 weeks are going to be two teams that we're playing, which is going to get really annoying. We're playing Pittsburgh, Atlanta.
They retroactive. It was moved retroactive to May 8th. So it's 10-day DL starting from May 8th.
He'll be back before St. Louis.
Yeah. You had to look at your schedule.
I'm looking at it right now because I'm trying to count the days. We weathered the storm against Pittsburgh. I don't even want to talk about that Saturday game.
the long rain delay.
What did they walk 8 in a row home and we still lost the game?
Yeah, that'll happen.
I wanted to throw up watching that game. That was awful, and that's all I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah,
but Pittsburgh on the road, Atlanta on the road, Pittsburgh at home, Atlanta at home. It's gonna be a lot of the same thing. Yeah. So if we can just kind of split the series there, maybe win 3 out of 4 there. I don't think that's really difficult to do. Swanson's been not himself this year yet.
I think it's a different Swanson. I think it's a different feeling because, like, I'll be completely honest. I was shocked beginning of the year where it was how low in the order he's batting. Like,
were you expecting more like 2?
Yeah, I was expecting like at least 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, he's one of our star players. And it's like, I'm not saying that's bad. It may just be a change for him. Like, hey, batting 5-6, I think like 4-5-6 is where he sits, but more 5 and 6.
Well, the same thing with Horner too. Mm-hmm. They're both kind of just sitting down there at the 5-6-7 hole.
You mean Happ or Horner? Because Horner's now up in like the 2 spot. Well, was with Seiya out. I guess that was because of Seiya.
Yeah, I think
Seiya was at the 2.
Yeah. I think today was Happ, Suzuki, Belly. What was the question?
Basically talking Swanson with him being lower in the order now.
That doesn't really bother me because he's not. We didn't bring him in for his home run bat. You know, we didn't bring him in because he hits 4 triples a game. You know, we brought him in because he's a defensive stellar player, a Gold Glove, and with hopefully a high of a 280 batting average.
Mm-hmm. And
get 150 hits, maybe 12 to 20 homers. That you've done your job.
And you're spot on.
My problem is that he has not done the defensive portion that well this year.
Yeah, and
he's had some bad plays.
I will say you're spot on with the lineup for today. Tauchman led off, the walk leader.
Tauchman. That's right.
Tauchman, Seiya, Belly, Morel kind of sitting there with their 3-4 lock. Happ at 5, Horner at 6, and then Bush, Masterboni, and Amaya.
I like it.
Is how the lineup was today. But like, that's the thing where it's like, I look at it and I go, like, has he been great defensively? No. But like, yet again, this year, and I don't know if we've really talked about this, but like, this isn't like the same year as last year. We had a lot of movement this year. Ross is gone. Craig is in. It's a new manager to get used to. New manager means he's going to ask you to do stuff that maybe you're not used to, like batting lower in the order. And like just this whole team, we've even said, with like the mixing pieces of like the infield too, of like second baseman. There's almost a new second baseman each and every day.
Third base at the beginning of the year too, before
third baseman
kind of locked that up.
Exactly. So it's like, I think things will settle. I think Swanson will come back into his own. And like for the injury, I just look at it and it's like it says here in the article for Cubs.com, Swanson will be in rest mode for the next few days, and then he'll take it day by day after that and reevaluate how his knee is feeling. Maybe he's not playing defensively sound because maybe this knee has been bothering him for a little bit now. And now it's finally time to say, hey, let's go to the DL, get some rest, get it good.
That's a good theory. I mean, that's entirely possible.
Because let's be honest, your knees, you're using like the foundation to make throws, to jump and dive, and you obviously use them to run side to side. So like, it could have been that. Could have been something that was bothering them, and it's like, hey, you know what? Like, it's not a big deal. But then the club's like, hey, we got to go ahead and get this fixed.
Yeah, a little R&R. It can't hurt anybody. Do we coast through? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we keep our head above board. We did with Steele. We did with Suzuki. We did with Bellinger.
I will say this, Tim, do you have any wood around you?
I don't think this is real wood, but I'll knock on it if you want.
Because the only wood I have is this cigar case that my dad bought me.
I think this desk is technically real wood.
I got to knock on it. And you want to know why? I got to knock on it because of what I'm going to say. And that is, luckily the Cubs haven't had any long-term injuries. They've been 10-day, 15.
How dare you?
I'm knocking on it again.
Everyone at home.
Because I do not need. We know how the MVP curse. We know how it happens, Tim. We say stuff on podcasts and the opposite happens. I go, oh yeah, we haven't any long terms. Tonight there'll be actually MVP style. Tonight during the game, someone might get injured, and it'll be 60-day DL.
I'm gonna quit the cast, dude. If you do that,
it's just the MVP way. I got to try to counteract it some way.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've been blessed with how they've been short 10 days, 15s.
Another guy went to the IL. Guy out of the pen.
Oh, you're right. Alzolay went down. Completely forgot about him because, I'll be honest, it's kind of a good thing. I don't like Alzolay. I don't like Elsley. I think he's a bum. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna put my fan hat on. He's a bum. He's a bum. Whenever he comes out of the bullpen, I go, "Oh, this one's over." He came out of the bullpen I think in that 1-run game against was it? No, that was Almonte. Never mind. I was gonna say the 1-run game against the Mets that the umps handed to us. It's like whenever Elsley comes out of the pen, I surrender, Cobra. I just go, "Oh, why? Why do we even have to pitch him at all?"
Yeah, so we're recording this tonight on Monday the 13th. Yesterday, he comes in. We're in the extra innings. We've got we're up 3, I believe. And because it's extra innings, the runner starts on second, first pitch.
Ghost runner, stupidest rule in baseball.
Blasted to right field, and it's just like, there it is. I was with my dad and of course the family on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And we just looked at each other like we almost laughed. Like, of course, of course. What were we expecting? Him to go lights out?
Of course, it's Alzolay. Of course,
we're the idiots who thought he could do it. Is there any part of you that thinks this injury is real?
I did until you told me. Like, I want to say yes, because isn't it like the team can get in trouble for manipulating the IL? I think
that used to be a thing, but you can go on the IL for like depression now. So I don't think I think you can say whatever. So.
I look at it and I go, I see this as a blessing. I do not see this as anything bad.
And now none of us ever root for injuries or anything like that. But yeah, if who did they say who replaced him?
Who replaced him? I don't know. I could look.
Yeah, I don't know that name off the top of my head.
It might.
What if it was Cade Horton? No,
it's not. He's still on the.
It might have been Little. I don't know. There was another bullpen guy.
No, it's the Little. It's still in the minors. I'll look it up. You keep going. Quas.
I think
Jose Quas was recalled.
Oh, God, you're kidding me.
That's why I didn't have him in the minors. Yeah, Quas is taking his spot.
Oh, that just bummed me out. we just replaced Alzolay with Alzolay.
Who's the worst of the two though? I would take Quas over Alzolay.
I don't know. I mean, Quas was the first move down because he was so bad. He was the first He was the first guy we sent down to AAA because it was like, no, you're not the guy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you did last time, but like, no,
that goes back to the Assad thing. If Alzolay's still out, Wicks comes back. Hey, Assad, we're gonna move you to the bullpen because we need that arm in the bullpen.
I like it. It's just it's totally contingent on whether Assad takes this as an insult or not.
I think it's contingent on Craig Counsell to phrase it the way it needs to be phrased.
It's both. I mean, yeah,
you're right.
For sure.
How you deliver it and also how you take it are two separate things.
Ultimately he needs to be okay with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he
doesn't have to, because if he's not okay with it and he stinks, then he's back in Iowa and it doesn't help him.
What's his contract look like?
His contract? Oh, let me pull it up.
Because if he's got a few more years on it, he's going to want to make the most of it. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
And here's the thing. This is the only thing I would say on that is I don't know Assad, and I don't think he's a guy that is hard-headed. I would feel like, because this is the guy I would want for the team, of, hey, coach, anything you need, I got you. You need me to start. That needs to be how the mindset is, not like I'm in the bullpen. I don't want this.
I've been pitching good. Why are you punishing me?
Exactly. Like you're not a child. 1 year. He signed a 1 year deal. Now let me look at the multi-year, see if he's got arbitration or anything. Because he's only 26. He's not old.
Ricky, what kind of package do you think we get trading Assad? No, serious question.
I don't know. So he's got pre-arbitration this offseason. He's in pre-arbitration mode this offseason. So it could become a thing of like Cubs want to pay him this. There might be the struggle of, hey, I think I'm worth this, and then might go to arbitration court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we still because he's only 26, so we're not going to lose him. Steele's got arbitration. The only way we lose him is if we take the arbitration away.
Yeah, but the arbitration is like 18 mil, isn't it?
No, how arbitration is so anyone on arbitration, the Cubs offer a contract to. Then at that point, the player's got two options. One, accept the deal. It's usually like just a 1-year deal.
Is it like the league average or something?
Yeah.
Though?
Yeah. It's like it's no, because it's basically, I know that there's like a minimum probably, but like the Cubs think you're worth this. If you don't think you're worth that and you think you're worth more, Assad could come back with a counter, like come back and say, I'm worth this. If the Cubs say no, then they go to the arbitrator, and the arbitrator
who determines
he decides. It's like going to court, and then you decide, okay, is the team right here? Is the player right here? And wherever he rules, boom, that's the contract for the next year.
Got it.
So he's pre-arbitration.
Okay.
Which is, I think, a little bit different, but I would have to look up the exact nuance of pre-arbitration.
It's something like that. I get what you're saying. Oh, I mean, the old sports radio. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know there.
Will we? Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to watch and find out.
Here, let's see. I like how it's giving me like the legal jargon. I'm like, no, I don't want pre-arbitration legal jargon. I want it for the MLB.
Print out the 48-page document and read it now.
Yeah, the 40-page document. Let's see. This is exactly what you guys at home want to listen to is Ricky looking up pre-arbitration.
Pre-arbitration, very
Let's
important
see,
stuff.
Contract renewal. These pre-arbitration players can negotiate their salaries but have little leverage, as clubs can choose to renew a contract for a major league minimum if they cannot come to an agreement with the player. So okay. Of course, clubs may choose to sign their pre-arbitration players to 1-year deals for more than the major league minimum to build good with the future negotiations. But they are, so basically how it is what we just described, that's arbitration. Pre-arbitration is basically the Cubs go, we are going to pay you this. And Assad goes, no, I'm worth this. And the Cubs could just go, fine, league minimum. And Assad's got no choice.
Ooh.
So basically it's like the Cubs could negotiate with Assad, give him a contract and like try to like be like, hey, I want to negotiate here because I want us to have a good relationship. But to be honest, they could just say, nope, league minimum, 1 year, move on. Mm-hmm. And then enter arbitration next year. So there's no way we lose him, is what I'm saying. At the minimum, the Cubs will pay him the minimum to keep him on for next year. Unless we trade him. Like, that's completely... If the Cubs decided to trade him, that's the only way we lose him.
It's starting to feel like a betrayal talking about him like this because, I mean, like, it's hard to ask him, other than that damn pitch count, it's hard to ask for him to be pitching better.
We're not having this conversation.
We're going in circles. I know. We're just going in circles. He needs to be a grown up and realize that you're needed in different places. But
and that's the thing where we're not having this conversation because he's pitching bad. We're having this conversation because our bullpen is so bad, and we may need him at other places.
Yes, that needs to be stressed. Mm-hmm. I love Assad. I think I do like watching him pitch, and I do think he's a really special talent.
Mm-hmm. Tim, I got two things in this front office thing that I want to go your way. They're a little speculative, and
I like that.
It kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier with the trade. So first off, this happened today. Apparently, veteran outfielder David Peralta opted out of a minor league contract with the Cubs and elected free agency. As indicated on MILB.com transitional log. The 36-year-old Peralta is a former Gold Glove and Silver Slugger winner who spent the bulk of his career with the Diamondbacks, for whom he played a pivotal role throughout his 9 seasons. Basically, he inked the minor league deal in February, but now has opted out of it and is gone. Is this going to be... First is, how big of a loss is this for the Cubs? Was Peralta ever going to be a guy that comes up and like gives us a bench bat? Or was this just like, it's not working out?
No, he's on the, I you know what? I did think that he could have that opportunity when I saw him in spring training. I think he actually had a pretty decent spring training with us for the amount of at-bats he got. But he was probably under.
I got it.
He's probably under Garrett Cooper in like the depth of bring up guys.
And it says here, if I kept reading, as Matty Lee of the Chicago Sun-Times wrote last month, he wasn't immediately ready for game action as he was still wrapping up the rehab process from an October procedure to repair the flexor tendon in his left forearm back in October.
That sounds like it hurts.
So basically probably injured. The 2 things I really wanted to ask you about, that was just a little bit of like minor league news for us. I'll ask you this. I got 2 trades for you. Do you want the positional player or the pitcher first?
Pitcher.
All right. How would you feel if this happened? So this is a report from the Inside the Cubs for Sports Illustrated. And they're talking about a trade between the Cubs and the Cardinals, which is interesting because why would those 2 teams want to help each other out? Basically, this is Miranda Remoklus of Fansided proposed a deal between so I will say this, Fansided is a fan website. They're reputable, but reputable in the sight of like not many of them have sources. I was a Fansided writer for a while, so take it with a grain of salt. Basically, Miranda, who writes for Fansided, proposed a deal between the Cubs and the Cardinals, which my first thought would be this would never happen. We're living in a fantasy world here. The Cardinals are not going to help the Cubs out in any regard. But for funsies, in the trade, Chicago would land Ryan Helsley, their star closer, basically. Helsley. However, Tim, they'd be trading Christopher Morel in the deal to get it done. Do you pull that trigger down the line?
No.
Is there any deal you think that could get done by the trade, like in July for Helsley, that the Cubs and Cardinals could do if you're like, no, I don't want to trade Morel?
Yeah.
Yeah, give them to us for free. Give them to us for free because you're the Cardinals and you suck.
If they're trying to, I assume Helsley probably makes a pretty penny, and if they're trying to dump some money, we may be able to eat somebody else's crummy contract.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Goldschmidt.
I mean, I got off of bases loaded.
Goldschmidt. But is that no? We'd have to
sure,
give way
fine.
We'd have to give up way too much for that. Like the Goldschmidt.
No, I think we would give up. I think we would give up a Canario maybe,
okay,
or a PCA.
Because Goldschmidt's a contract that they're eventually going to try to move because he's not the same Goldschmidt that he was like 2 years ago.
No, and he's making too much money. Yeah, and they're kind of just sitting on that contract. The same thing that we're doing with Hendricks.
Tomato.
Yeah, pretty much.
The trade, by the way, I looked into it because I clicked on her article. It's basically a Ryan Helsley for Morel straight up, which never. How many trades in the MLB are 1-for-1? Like, come on. I hate bashing on people because like trying to make a living like us.
I think St. Louis might do that.
St. Louis, by the way, Goldschmidt is in the final year of his contract. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I don't like that trade.
Do we give up Hendricks? Do we do like Hendricks and positional players? You don't think they would?
No.
Oh, he's locked down for too long.
Well, and he hasn't. He's dog water right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was part of my theory of moving him to the pen. Is there was less pressure and he'd have smaller focus groups of batters he'd be facing, could probably lower his ERA and get that value back up to where it, kind of honors what he's being paid. And then you trade him, by the deadline or something like that. If he doesn't get anywhere, if he doesn't improve better than a 10 ERA or a 9 or 8 or something, I don't think he's getting traded because I don't think anybody's going to take him.
So the other one is kind of, I think, more of it's a rumor. It's not even for sure that he'll get traded because the team he's with does want to re-sign him at the end of the year, but we don't know what's going to happen from now to July. Apparently there's rumors, Tim, that the Cubs could be actively looking for a trade for Pete Alonso from the Mets. Would that be wise for us to do? Pete Alonso. I'm getting this from Clutch Points. Basically, they have here a report. So a report last fall for the Mets Star, and a recent report stated that Alonso is interested in going to Chicago. Heyman also said this January that he believes the Cubs will pursue Alonso if he enters free agency. For the New York side, Cohen with the Mets, owner Steve Cohen even said that himself recently, but there is optimism that he'll resign.
I think you could get a package built around Alonso pretty easily.
That would be huge. That he'd become our everyday first baseman.
I would love him to be on the team.
I'm sorry, Michael Bush.
He might be in the package. It might be Bush in the package. It might be Wisdom in the package.
Could we get Hendricks in that package as the big contract eater to match the salaries?
I don't know. I don't know how much cap space we have. You might have to.
Let me look. Well, cap space is relative in MLB. It's all about how much. I know
we have a budget. Not cap space. We have a budget though.
Yeah.
Hendricks would probably have to be in that trade, and then you'd have to sweeten it with some prospects for sure, and then probably a Michael Bush. I can see a Hendricks, Michael Bush, Owen Cassie. I think you can get that deal done, and I think I would. I think Pete Alonso would add a lot to this lineup.
He would be great for this lineup.
Yeah. Where would you bat him?
I would bet him
behind Belly?
Either, but I would have to bet him fourth. I love Morel, but I would bet him fourth. Morel moves down to 5. Because, see, that's the thing. Morel's a good cleanup hitter, but Alonso's a great cleanup hitter. That's the difference.
He made his career on it.
Yeah. So I would probably put him 4 behind Belly.
I would like that trade.
Morel would then go to 5. So okay, leading,
and then you just start over. You start over with Swanson, Horner, and then 8 and 9.
The problem is our leadoff, because I feel like our leadoff is a revolving door. So tonight it's Tachman, sometimes it's Horner, sometimes we're throwing Happ up there. It's just a revolving door of who's usually up there. So it's are we going to solidify it? Are one of our guys, is Nico finally going to be yeah, I'll lead off and be a significant lead off?
And this is what sucks because they've struggled. It should be Horner, Swanson, 1-2, and then Belly. That's the way. The way this lineup should be.
Or but they both struggle. Seiya's good at 2. I'm fine with him being.
I would love Seiya batting 5th too.
Yeah, but I like him because of his walks.
Sure. Well, a lot of these guys walk a lot too. So
the Craig Counsell effect.
Yeah, and there you go. All right, Rick, what do you got for the next 2 weeks until we grace these great fans with our presence again?
All right, let me pull up my schedule.
Well, I've got it on a piece of paper right here.
I don't. I have it on my phone. So the Cubs entering this, Tim.
I need my glasses.
They're playing the Braves right now as we talk, but right now as we're recording this, we're 24-17, still a half game behind the Brewers, so nothing has changed on that front. I have my phone in my hand, so I have to do it one-handed. Looking at the schedule, so this is going to be a little bit modified because usually we go Saturday to Saturday, but because we're on a Monday, it's Monday to Saturday.
We'll go Monday to Saturday.
Next podcast from us will be the 25th against St. Louis.
Correct.
So here's the
probably stream that Friday game.
Yeah, we will. We already said we're going to. Here's the thing. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go from. Let's go from Tuesday the 14th because this game's already happening. I assume we win because of Shota, but like it's already happening. We'll go from the 14th to the 24th. The reason why we won't do that Saturday is that Saturday will happen after we record.
Correct.
So we'll include the Saturday game in the podcast
from now
on Saturday.
until after the first game against St. Louis.
The 14th to the 24th. So it'll be game 2 against Atlanta to game 1 against the Cardinals. That's what we'll do. I almost look at it and I go, like, Pittsburgh, I don't even know what to think with that one because Pittsburgh, they surprisingly had our, like, I know we went 2 of 1, but like, they surprisingly had our number. I'll ask you, what do you think first? You go first.
I mean, this Atlanta series, I think we'll be lucky to get one of 3 or 1 of 2, one and 2
because it's on the road.
It's on the road. Yeah,
I mean,
Atlanta's. They got some players.
You've got in front of you right now. It's 0-0, top of the 5th.
I know. Yeah, and I do have us winning this game just based on what Imanaga brings in the WAR category.
And you're like, what I've been watching.
Yeah, the eye test.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, I feel confident at home. I mean, like, you know what's funny? It kind of reminds me of the Miami series last month, where we should have swept and we only split.
Yeah.
But I think we can at least get 3 out of 4 from them. So that puts us at 4-3. Coming back to Atlanta at home. I'd like to see who's pitching, but I mean, again, I feel very comfortable with us at home.
I have scheduled starters for that Atlanta series if you want them.
Yeah, hit me.
So game 1 of that Atlanta series right now, it's going to be Assad versus Morton.
Okay.
Game 2 will be Steele versus Max Fried, who
gonna be a tough game.
Who was just in a combined no-hitter, pitched 8 no-hit innings against the Mets his last start. And then
Max
game
Fried's
3 will be Hendricks versus Elder.
Okay.
We're getting some of their best pitching over the 6 games we play then.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go 1, 3. I'd see us squirting a little bit ahead of 500. I got us going 6-5.
So let's see. Let's do this live for me. So tonight, yeah, we've seen 5 innings as we're recording. I'm confident we'll win because Shota's on the mound. I think we'll win if Shota's there. So we win tonight.
He hasn't lost yet this year.
we win on Monday. We lose the next 2. Tayon and Sale are Tuesday. Assad and Morton. I like Sale and Morton a lot more. I think we only take. Hopefully, we're taking 1 of 3 against the Braves right now. So we're 1-2. Heading into Pittsburgh, I think game 1. You look at it, and it is Steele versus Jones will be interesting. I'm going to say we get the win there because the bullpen for Pittsburgh will spoil Jones like they did game 1 for us. So we're 2-2. Hendricks Skeens, I'll give it to Skeens and the Pirates because of Hendricks, even though he looked well against. Oh, that's a tough one. This is
depending on if Hendricks is actually pitching that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say right now Hendricks Skeens. I'm gonna give it to Skeens. We're 2-3 right now. Then Imanaga Falter. We're back to 3-3. Game 4 of that series, we don't know who's pitching for the Cubs, but we know Keller is pitching for Pittsburgh. If it's Wicks is back by then, like, I'm going to say, it's going to be tough. I'm going to say we win. I'm going to say we win. Keller's a good pitcher, but I'm going to say we take 3 or 4 against Pittsburgh. So that's 4-3 heading into Atlanta, where I think we get swept.
Okay.
Let's see, 4-3, 4-6, and then we'll win Friday because the Cardinals suck. We're 5-6.
5-6, yeah.
5-6.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing as I just have us winning one of those games against Atlanta.
The first 2 we got a shot, but I'm sorry, Morton, Fried, Eller.
I know
they just got good pitching, dude, and like I I like Morton and Fried more so in those matchups. If we can, being at home, it also depends on how the wind's blowing.
Also, having that off game. 1,
Off
2,
day?
3, 4, 5.
We do have an off day before the Atlanta series next Monday.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, there might be a chance Imanaga could pitch that series, but it wouldn't work because he's pitching the Pittsburgh game on Saturday.
Who do you think pitches that last game against Pittsburgh? If it's Steele, Hendricks, Imanaga, is it not Taillon? Well, it's weird that
it'll be Taillon because isn't Steele doing the first game against Atlanta?
Second game
at
against
home.
Atlanta.
Second game. Okay, so yeah, it's probably Taillon.
It's weird that they don't have Taillon penciled in though. Unless
we'll see once we get closer, I guess.
Unless they're thinking Wicks is going to be
It might
back?
not be. Maybe it might. It obviously isn't penciled in. You know.
Yeah,
it's obviously still in the air.
So what did I say? I said 5 and 6.
Yep, I said 6 and 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 5 and 6.
Mark it down into the chat, guys. Let's hear what you guys think about the next couple weeks. Tell us why too. You know, tell us we're idiots if you think we're way off.
Will this be the toughest stretch the Cubs face this year?
I think we're playing it pretty safe, saying 6 and 5 and 5 and 6. I think
you think it could be worse?
We're towing the line.
Yeah, that Pittsburgh series could go like we're being confident because it's Pittsburgh, but it could easily be 2 and 2.
We're also talking about the same two teams for the next 2 weeks. You know, it's what you see is going to be what you get. It's going to be the same thing, grinding in and out. We're all kind of matched the same at this point.
I mean, if it wasn't for their bullpen in the game that we streamed, we could have easily been 1 and 2 against Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh.
True.
Let's just hope that the home field advantage comes out for us. But just as Tim said, let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section. Remember, Discord, Patreon, BetUS, all of that is in the description below. Also, check out our socials. Hit the like button, the sub button. Tim and I will be back on the 25th with our daily, our usual scheduled programming for our Saturday podcast. I want to thank you guys for everything that you do, watching, liking, streaming, everything. Thank you so much. We could not do this without you. We will be back in 2 weeks. And as always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.